Bandas de mi corazón. Es el momento de entrevistar a una banda que queremos mucho. Cuando anunciamos el line-up del festival, todos estábamos muy emocionados.
Yo lloré, o sea, honestamente, yo me amanecí esta mañana a las 6 de la mañana a llorar. Le voy a subir la foto por el grupo La Bizarrata.
Bueno, usted la está viendo ahora. Mírala ahí. Y bueno, yo no quiero durar más tiempo en presentarlos. Fueron headliners de los festivales más importantes del mundo y llegan a República Dominicana el próximo 11 de marzo. Con nosotros, Gus de RJ.
Hey!
Thank you.
Did you get to understand anything we said?
I understood headliner.
Okay.
You said it in English. And lineup.
Okay. Some words.
I understood a little bit more. My high school Spanish is just about recognizes a few things. So thank you very much. I understood más importante. Thank you very much. Yeah, lovely. Very nice to be here.
I love it too. We're so excited. I don't think you understand how excited we are for having this interview. First of all, thank you for giving us the space. And today we're going to talk about the dream, touring, and everything that goes with it. You are coming to the DR. Have you ever thought about this ever in your life, that you are going to an island in the Caribbean?
I mean, it's going to be my first time in the Caribbean, as we call it in England, or Caribbean. I'm very excited. You know, I mean, it's a place I've always wanted to go, and to get to go there and actually play a gig is extra cool. So yeah, it's going to be brilliant.
Oh my God. And everyone is really excited for this. And you are going to be headliners of this incredible festival. It's the biggest one in the Caribbean. And I would like to know, do you have any expectations for how DR might be, not only in the festival, but just as an island? Are you willing to go to the beach or something like that?
I'm willing. Yeah, you know, I think it would be, I mean, you know, what I suppose, you know, you grow up in a place like the UK, which is, you know, not known for its good weather, not known for perhaps its sort of like vibrancy, you know, so I suppose we have quite an ideal view of, you know, that part of the world, the Caribbean, you know, which is to do with good weather and good times, I suppose. And that's something that I'm very much excited about. You know, I love being outdoors. I love eating good food, and you know, just generally enjoying myself in that way. So I'm really hoping for that kind of thing.
Obviously, yeah. I'll tell the team, so they are responsible for especially the good food part. So you guys come here and you enjoy the rich culture we have here, not only in the food but also in the place, and the people. The people are really, really vibrant. So you are touring for several reasons. Not only have you released The Dream, which is an awesome album, but also the 10th anniversary of An Awesome Wave. 10 years. Talk to me about that.
I know. Yeah, it's funny, really. I mean, you know, we're actually into, you know, kind of 11 years now, but I suppose we're treating it as one big thing. It's like you know, people asked us a lot, oh, you know, are you aware it's the 10-year anniversary? And we were kind of like, yeah, kind of aware of it, but I hadn't really thought about it much. But we got asked about it so much, you know, that it actually started to kind of sink in that it meant a lot, you know, and I think we're so very grateful to have this album that means so much to a lot of people. And, you know, it's actually been nice for us to revisit it, to play some songs from it that we've not played, you know, since 2012, 2013. And just, yeah, kind of, just be I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but to be kind of grateful, I suppose, and just to reflect on what that album did for us and how much it changed our lives. And you know, we hear from fans quite a lot that the album, you know, changed their lives, which is an amazing thing to hear, but it really changed our lives massively too. So it's nice to celebrate.
Yes, I was there when you guys got the Mercury Award for An Awesome Wave. Like, I'm way back. I'm a fan of way back. Yeah, for real.
Great.
And it's great to see that you guys are revisiting this really important album, because this is what set your career. I know all of you met in university. Did all of you really think that you were gonna be like having a headlining festival in the Caribbean, for example?
Well, no, I mean, you know, absolutely not. You know, we really started the band just as a kind of, you know, almost as like a sort of art project, really. I think it was just something that we wanted to, you know, do in our spare time, but work very hard on. You know, we always took it seriously in the sense that we tried to make the songs as good as possible. We practiced like 2 or 3 times a week. You know, it was like we were quite serious, we're quite studious with it, I suppose. But at the same time, I think, you know, we definitely didn't have our sights set on coming to the Caribbean to do a festival, for example. I think, you know, the extent of our dreams for the band were probably kind of some late night specialist radio play and maybe getting mentioned in some sort of, you know, zines. So that was really all we ever thought would happen.
And in your first year, you got so many, not only festivals, headlinings, but also a lot of awards. And I can feel that seriousness in the composition, because something that could be highlighted from LJ is not only it has extremely interesting construction when it comes to the music. The lyrics are really fun. You guys seem really educated. And I'm not saying this just to like show off. Like, you talk about history, art, music, cinema. There's so many references of the things you consume in your music, but also the production quality is prime. I think in This Is All Yours is where I appreciate the production value the most, because it's so built up. How do all of these inspirations merge into making music with you being a 3-part band? Because you guys are 3, and I think all of you make part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I think that it's all about the kind of different things that each of us bring to the band. You know, I mean, Joe, you know, Joe's the lyricist, Joe is the kind of main songwriter, but, you know, I come from more of a classical music background. Tom, our drummer, comes from more of like a heavy metal background, growing up playing in heavy metal bands. And I think that and then Joe learned a lot, I think, from his dad, who is a kind of like sort of singer-songwriter, you know, in a kind of more kind of soul music and folk and that kind of thing. And I think those 3 influences, the metal, the classical, and the kind of folk soul, is almost like what makes the Alt J sound. And I think it's quite a unique recipe. And I think that really is why we sound the way we do, and perhaps why we stood out quite a lot when we first emerged onto the scene.
Yes, and now with the actor, we see even more different. We have like quartets, like barbershop quartets in like the beginning. We also have like a new wave kind of essence in Chicago. There are so many different references and elements. What are the elements that inspired this latest album that you can tell me directly?
Well, you're right. You know, we've got definitely some different sort of musical genres on the album. We were quite inspired. We were listening to, like, I think it was around when the Beatles Get Back documentary came out, and we were making this album, and we were quite inspired by how they, as a band, kind of like pushed themselves, I think, to kind of evolve. Maybe I'm just thinking about that because I can see Paul McCartney behind you on that picture, sort of looking at me. But yeah, they definitely are an influence on us, and I think, you know, you can hear that quite literally in a song like Philadelphia, which we tried to make sound almost like quite a Beatles song. But, you know, I think it's also just this attitude of, you know, working hard in the studio, constantly, you know, putting all your efforts really into what you can create in the studio, and worrying about the live stuff later. You know, we're never like, how are we going to play this live? It's like, well, we'll figure it out, you know.
Something super interesting about your music and your production are the voices, the vocal arrangements. I really would like you to tell me how you do that. Who's the one that leads the part of the production?
I think it sort of comes from my background singing, you know, in choirs and stuff when I was younger. That was like my musical education, really. And it's something that I was keen to bring into Alt J. So I think, and, you know, Joe and I very much enjoy singing together. You know, I think our voices, we found out early on that our voices go together quite nicely, make quite a nice sound together. And, you know, I think we're always keen to build up those harmonies. And again, it's something in the studio that you can really work on. You know, like, for example, in the first track on the album, Bane, there's this kind of like, yeah, you chorus, which we layered and layered and layered till it almost sounded kind of like Queen or something. You know, it was so extreme, but it's just this one moment that happens. You know, it's not sort of full on Bohemian Rhapsody, but we, you know, that was something we hadn't really done before, this kind of like extreme harmony layering, but it was quite fun.
And it now belongs to your sound. Something, Gabby, that I was watching before this interview was your performance of Get Better. And something curious and interesting.
Can I say something before you did?
Absolutely.
Why would you make such a heart-wrenching song? I heard it. I can't hear it in public. It's the only one I don't have liked on Spotify. I cry to it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's quite a tough one, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I was listening to it, and something interesting that I found was that you change from one voice to another so quick and so smooth, like going from alto to the bass. Is that easy for you? Don't you get confused while, you know, singing it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know, I think that it's just something that I mean, speaking personally, I've been singing my entire life, I guess. So I just, it's probably the instrument for me that I feel most confident with. Actually, is singing. I think it's but I suppose it's just interesting because it comes out of you. It's not an instrument that you play in a conventional sense, but it is nonetheless an instrument. And I suppose both Joe and I, are quite good players of that instrument, if you could say that.
I do have a question with the vocal part. When are we getting another a cappella type of song?
Good question. Good question. I don't know. You mean like on the first? You mean like the Ripe and Ruin interlude or something?
That's my favorite song of all time, right?
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah,
did not know that.
And I have another friend who also loves the band, and it's also their favorite song. It's so random for someone to like that song in particular.
That is random. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you have a song in particular from all the eras of Al J that you just love playing, that you can play till you're dead?
I think that like Dissolve Me on the first album is a song that I really love playing live. I just think it has a really good vibe. It's a good festival song. It's one we'll certainly be playing at the Isle of Light. And I think I really like my part in it. It's very uplifting, and I love there's some really good kind of vocal harmony moments in the middle. So it's kind of for me that song has everything, and it's one which I always, when it comes to a new album tour, it's always the discussion of which songs we're going to have to cut to make room for new songs. And I always fight to keep Dissolve Me in the set.
Dissolve Me is the bomb. I understand why it's one of the most listened songs, but all of your songs are incredible. Yeah. I do have a question. I saw in an interview that, and you said about it right now, that you have to cut some songs out of the set list for the tour. If you could pick just your perfect set list, it could be just 5 songs from Al J. Which ones would it be? That you just fight, nail, teeth, everything for them to be there.
I mean, obviously I put Dissolve Me in there. I like playing In Cold Blood a lot, although it's quite demanding vocally, shall we say. It's quite high. Which other ones do I always enjoy? I like playing Hard Drive Gold from the new album because I play the bass on that song, so that's kind of a fun one. It's where I really get to feel like, I always say, like, you don't feel like you're properly in a band when you're playing the keyboard sometimes. I think so when I get to play the bass, I'm like, yeah, now I'm a band man. So that's 3. Number 4. I'm gonna say, what's something off the third album? I think we've got In Cold Blood. Something from the second album. We used to play a song called Warm Foothills quite a lot, and we sort of stopped playing that now.
She's gonna literally die.
I'm collapsing.
I might put that one in there. Okay, that was a good choice, clearly. And number 5, I mean, like, Breeze Blocks is just it's never not going to be in the set. It's probably never not going to close the set. It's just always one that it just feels great to play it, and I think people respond to it really well. It'd be stupid not to include that. So there you go. That's my set list, my 5-song set list.
I would like to incorporate one question. This morning I asked the Visa rats, which was the people that listen to the show.
Yeah, we call the listeners rats.
Yeah, and they love it. So I asked them to give us a question for you guys, and one of those that I liked was, if there is a song that you are only allowed to play, that's the only song you are allowed to play until the end of your life, what it will be?
You mean like play it on live or play it in or listen to it?
Play.
Gosh. Sorry, difficult question.
I know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like playing Bane from the new album because it has a lot of different sections. I think, maybe I wouldn't get bored of that one as quickly because it sort of doesn't really repeat itself. It sort of moves on and moves on and moves on. So for that reason, I might go with Bane.
Ahí está Giancarlo.
Yeah, which is the first song in The Actor. How does it feel to make music after 4 albums? Because I feel like it is hard nowadays to see people maintaining the same essence with the music, but Al J does it beautifully. How do you keep up with the same kind of identity Al J has stated throughout the years, even with a hiatus, which we will talk about?
I suppose it's just all about that original kind of going back to what I was saying about when we were students, it was all about trying to make music that we found interesting and trying to, essentially make art and fulfill ourselves in that way. And I think that's what we always tried to do, and what we still try to do now. I think if we ever felt like we were repeating ourselves, or felt like we were just doing it, for the money or something, we would stop doing it. As much as of a cliche as that is, I think it's true, because at the end of the day, yeah, we do this because we have a great chemistry together musically, and that's really what keeps us going, I think. And if that, luckily that chemistry still seems to be there, and still seems to be throwing up new sounds and new ideas, and long may it continue, I guess.
Yes, and in this album in particular, the Dream, you guys had to take songs out, which was a first, right?
It was a first, yeah. It was really tough, actually, but I think it was a really boring reason to do with vinyl, the production of vinyl, and how difficult it is to make vinyl right now. And we were sort of told you can only make a single disc album. This can't be a double disc album. So we had to cut 2.5 songs. I say a half because there was an interlude that we cut as well. But I think actually in the end it made the album better. I think it made the album leaner and stronger, had a stronger flavor, I think, once we'd taken away that stuff. But in the moment it's always very difficult, because you think, well, you love every song,
Obviously. I'll take the opportunity and now to say that I have all except The Dream. Can you guys sign it to me when you come here? I would have your reassurance, please.
Of course.
I have the only one I don't have is the Dream, but I'll get it way before you're here.
Okay, great. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, I hope. Yes, I love the album regardless if I have it physical or not. And it's kind of sad that you had to cut it just because of a production situation. Actually, it's kind of sad.
I know, but there's always, in a way it was a good reminder that what we do, we're part of the music industry. You are still doing a job, and sometimes these things, they might feel bad at the time, but they end up making something better. And I think that probably was the case, actually.
Yeah, you said it's a job, which is, I think, the first time anyone here has spoken about how much of a job it is, because passion is obviously gasoline for this, but it is still a job. And I remember you guys took a break after Relaxer, which, by the way, I love Relaxer too. And
nice.
I know that you wanted to have that more mundane, everyday type of life to have inspiration back again for this new album. Is it necessary to have a break from music ever so often?
And by the way, they're parents now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
true,
family and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't know if it's necessary. Maybe some people don't need it. I think it was really to do with touring more than it was to do with recording. Because that's the other thing. That's the thing about being a musician and like us, is that there's this idea that we're kind of just writing songs the whole time or whatever. Actually, 95% of what you do is playing live and playing the same songs over and over again. So I think, to an extent, it was really a break from that we needed. I think more than it was. But then it was also good to kind of take some time away from each other and then come back and be really excited to be there in the studio. And I think that's why the Dream came out so well.
Yes, and it feels like that. It feels really refreshing. It still has the same essence of LJ from when you guys were still uni students getting out of uni to become musicians, and we can still feel it now. How does it feel to be touring back again, even after the pandemic, and developing your families and everything? I know you are excited, but are you scared that might interfere with your whole system?
The family thing?
Yeah, like the family, your lifestyle things, yeah.
I'm not scared, really. No, I'm not scared about that. I mean, it's difficult to balance, and I suppose I think Joe and I, as parents now, feel, more than ever that it's tough to be away, and it makes you question, you have to really just do things because they're worth doing, because you want to do them, like coming to the Caribbean, of course. But, it does make you think. And I suppose it's just all about just trying to get a healthy balance, trying to get home when you can get home, maybe do shorter tours. We're coming to, on this trip in March. It's like a 2-week trip, which is actually quite manageable. It's okay to be away from home for 2 weeks, but it's not so good to be away from home for 6 weeks, so we try to avoid that.
To balance it, yeah.
Trying to see the fest. Please tell people 3 things they should have in mind to see RJ live this March 11th.
Yeah.
What do you want me to tell them? Sorry.
Three things they need to have in consideration. They need to be when Al J is playing on that stage the 11th of March.
I mean, I would hope that, there's nothing really they need to do or be. I mean, I suppose it's just about, I think, I always like it when I see people losing themselves when we're playing, if they have kind of got their eyes closed, kind of just like lost in the music in that moment. I think is a really nice feeling for me when I can see that happening to somebody in the audience, because we can see you. I think that's something that people don't often realize. It's like we can see you and we do look at you, and if you're doing something funny or embarrassing, I will laugh in my head.
Oh my God, I'll hide myself under a rock. You will never see me.
Guys, thank you very much for this time. Thank you for being so nice. And for something funny, thanks for giving us long answers. That's really hard to get.
Oh no, I'm a long answer man, so I'm glad you appreciated them. Thank you.
Thank you
Hope
very
you don't
much.
have to cut too much. All right, thanks guys. Can't wait to see you next month.
Yes,
it's going to be amazing.
Bueno,
yeah,
Gabby,
all right.
Gabby, are you dead already?
I'm gonna cry after this, so I'll have to say goodbye. Thank you, for real, guys. You're so
lovely,
nice.
That's lovely.
Bueno, usted quédese con nosotros. Esto es Radio Bizarro Music for the rest of us. Now, guys.
I'm not kidding. I'm gonna cry. Bye.